everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and look, it's Austin, the day goes, and it's time for part 5 of our watch-through of the 2003 Ninja Turtles series. Austin has never seen this. He's now seen 15 episodes while we were talking over them, and I have seen bits and pieces of this all the way through here and there, mostly first couple of seasons, but I've seen a little bit after that here and there as well, and so we're blind watching it together. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a little while. We've missed this. For my part, I'm very excited to get back to this finally, and sorry for the delay. Thanks for being here if you're watching live, and thanks for watching after the fact if you're doing that. Austin, we're going to do 3 episodes tonight, and we're starting with the Jack Kirby tribute episode, which is called The King.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because you know this, Cap, but the audience doesn't.
Yeah.
I've been rereading Marvel the Untold Story, and literally last night I just got to when Kirby died, so...
Okay, you're a little ahead of me, so what's really funny is Austin and I are actually both reading that book at the same time, and we didn't coordinate this. We just happened to start reading it again at the same time, and we kept, like, lining up at about the same places. So the other day, he's like, I'm at the Liefeld era, and I'm like, oh, you're, like, a chapter behind me is all. And I've been... this is neither here nor there, but I've been listening to it on Spotify instead of sitting down and reading it just while I've been working on things in the house. And Austin, I didn't realize this, but with the what do you call it? With the plan that I have with Spotify, they only allot you so many hours to listen to audiobooks, so I ran out of hours for the month.
Oh.
And so you're ahead of me now because I can't listen to it for another, like, 14 days. So I thought about cracking my copy open and sitting down and reading the rest of it, but I haven't gotten around to that either.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was, like, plowing through it, and now I'm starting to slow down a little bit because I'm in, like, an era that I don't really care about, so it's like, I'm in the 90s.
Oh, and see, that's like I get excited about that period because I lived through it, and it's so bittersweet because like Marvel sucked during that time. Like the stuff I really
that's
like
exactly
is
that
DC.
it's like, oh yeah, it's like the crappy Marvel 90s.
And so I'm nostalgic for that period because that's when I got into comics. But Marvel was not the reason I got into comics.
No, like if it were about DC history, I'd be like, hell yeah, like keep rolling through. But Marvel sucks in the 90s.
Yeah, no, early 90s is peak DC. I think actual peak DC is more like 87 to 89, but there's some really great stuff right at the beginning of the 90s too, and then it starts to peter off in the mid 90s. But it never gets as... I think overall it never gets as bad as Marvel's worst in the early 90s when they were just flooding the market.
No, I agree. I do think
DC also did some of that.
Went through the 90s a lot better than Marvel did. But
they didn't,
there's definitely issues on
they
both
didn't
sides.
perfectly weather it or anything.
No, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely
there's heroes on both sides, is what we're saying.
That's exactly what we're saying. Chewbacca's Lover, $2 super chat. Please talk about the book once you both finish. I don't want to commit to that. Maybe we'll do that. I mean, I've been re-listening to it very, very casually.
One, I started it like months ago and then put it down and then picked it up like a few weeks ago. But I mean, I've read it before. Like a lot of that's in my brain.
I don't know how...
Like, if you were to ask me to do it, I could probably do it. But...
Yeah, like I don't know how prepared I would feel. I'm sure if we sat down and had a casual conversation about it, we would.
It'd probably be more of that, just like casual.
We would probably think of stuff to say that's not coming to me right now in the moment because he suggests that, and immediately I'm timid and I'm like, I'm not prepared for that. Like I'm not ready to talk about it. But then if we got into it, it would probably work out just fine. So yeah, I'm not going to promise it, but I will take that idea under advisement. It could happen.
A lot of it'll just be me being sad that Steve Gerber got screwed over so much.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that attachment the first time I read it. So like rereading it this time, I was like, oh man, like he's one of my favorite writers I really look up to in comics.
Well,
that sucks.
I was shocked by just how much real estate he was given in that book.
He gets a lot, yeah. It's really cool.
He's talked about more there than anybody ever talked about him ever before. And you could say that about a number of the creators in that book. But anyway, let's get to Ninja Turtles. Maybe
we're already doing that video.
This is maybe evidence we should do that video. Yeah, well, and like I would want to talk a little bit about just like, you know, style and production and stuff with that, like what it's like to listen to the audiobook versus reading it, because I don't know how I feel about that reader.
Yeah, it's interesting because I am reading it and you're doing an audiobook too. It's like that's also an interesting point. It's like you're watching a director's cut and I'm watching a theatrical cut.
Kind of, except I don't think there's any different material.
Yeah.
He's referring to something we did earlier where we actually did that on accident.
Mhm.
But anyway, so we bring that up to say we both are relatively fresh, or more fresh than we usually would be, on the history of Jack Kirby and his contributions to the comic industry, and
I was
how
reading
he
through Eternals
influences
too,
Eastman and Laird. Not that that's really brought up so much in Marvel: The Untold Story, but just you can see the influence on their work. I was also reading something recently about that too. I can't remember what it was, but anyway.
Oh, cool. I've also been reading Eternals. So it's like also, I've just had like a lot of Kirby in the last few months. So it's gonna be interesting to see their tribute to him.
Well, and their tribute to him is a direct adaptation of an issue that Eastman and Laird did. And I don't think you've read that, right? Because you only read like the first 3 or 4.
Yeah, I haven't. I knew it existed.
Do you know what happens in it?
Isn't he's like Doodlebop? He like writes things and they they become real, right?
Yeah, and that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's effectively the story. It's very simple.
Mhm.
And the tribute part is look at all these things that kind of look like Kirby drawings.
Yeah, isn't it like a thing in the issue where it's like they drew the superheroes but they're like shaded, but you can see like maybe like an arm or something?
You know what? Now that you say that, yeah, they did do that, and they did that before McFarlane did it.
Mhm.
Like 10
Well,
10
that's
years
the other
before
thing is I was
McFarlane
like,
did it.
Did they do that or was that a Spawn thing? I can't remember.
No, I think they both did. I think you're right about that. But it's been probably 8 years since I read that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Well,
that's
I
right.
probably, if I'm right about that, I probably only guessed it because I'm probably specifically thinking of the Spawn one from Spawn Year.
Yeah, but I think that happened there as well. Well, anyway, we're going to go ahead and watch some Ninja Turtles. Again, this is blind. This is also very casual. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you want to watch it with us, and we encourage you to do so, pull out Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime if you have both, because that's a better player. That's how I like to do this. If you can avoid Paramount's player, you're probably better off. So I'm watching it on Prime, but paying for it through Paramount Plus. Everybody get that? Everybody caught up? And there is
Before
also
we
a
start, though,
DVD box set that if you are not aware of that, you can also get that and come back and listen to it with us as well. What were you gonna say? Austin?
before we start, though, we got to get predictions in. Who's narrating the beginning of this episode?
Well, this has to be Donatello because it's a Donatello character piece.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the entire thing is Donatello and their stand-in for Jack Kirby like go into a world together with his drawings. So it's all done. Like the other turtles are barely in the episode.
I think they should have broken the cycle and just paid Stan Lee to do it. And then he could be
Wow.
like, I made this.
I feel like that would have been a massive mistake, don't you?
This is a tribute to me.
I don't think Jack Kirby would have appreciated that very much.
He wouldn't have, but it would have been funny.
Oh my god. Anyway, let me bring up the clock real quick. I hope everybody is having a wonderful evening. We're starting real late here. It's midnight where I'm at. Here we go, folks. Everybody, please press play right now.
James Egan's wondering when the next Rewind history video is. I'm guessing probably next week.
Probably
we
next
haven't
week.
talked about it. Yeah.
And so look, it's Super Kirby S just right out the gate.
Yeah, there we go.
And there's Donatello. There's the Rainbow Bridge.
There's the pink rainbow bridge, yeah.
Well, you know, they want to avoid copyright infringement, so it couldn't have different colors. It had to just be pink.
It's the pink bow bridge.
The colors are spot on, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. And these look like they could have been Kirby monsters. Like, obviously, it's not the same art style, because it's the show's art style, but... Like, I can see Kirby's designs of these.
Boy, that's a terrific point. It must have been a real challenge to make it look enough like what they're homaging and still fit the style of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because obviously it's not like a one-for-one Kirby.
I wish they'd gone farther and done Jack Kirby's intro to the show.
That'd have been awesome.
It would have had a completely different theme song and everything. Make it real cosmic and.
You just do the old that old Marvel show, where they just took his artwork and it's like not really even animated.
Yeah. Of course, you'd be infringing copyright all day long with that.
Well, yeah, but you just do it with the Mirage comics.
Oh, yeah, that would be really funny. It's kind of ironic that Kirby is so well known for his monsters because he kind of hated drawing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or he got really bored with it anyway. It was like monster after monster. I don't think that was his favorite stuff to draw. I think he was really good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, which is funny because, like, there's so much of it. Like, even when he's writing and drawing everything.
So I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but this is an example where the animated splash page is used to wonderful effect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that it puts the dedication up front like that, or do you wish it had given us the whole premise and then thrown that at the end? Because there's a part of me that kind of wishes you had to guess at it. I mean, if you really know your stuff, you would know right away what it was doing, or at least you'd be like, "Oh, weird, we're going to Thor stuff at the beginning. I don't know why we're doing that."
You know what? I think I was more fine with it until you said it, and now I'm like, yeah, you might be right.
I appreciate that it's up front like that. Just because they're really giving him his due and saying here's a guy that doesn't get enough credit, of course. And I don't remember if the issue did that.
I don't know, because with most tributes, I feel like it comes at the end, so it's hard to say with the comic. I could also see it maybe just being on the cover or something.
Lucas keeping us on track here. He says, if you haven't been following along, the foot are in the sewers, so they're stuck at April's. Yes, that is the status quo right now.
Thank you. I was like, I remember they're stuck at April's, but I couldn't remember why.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of forgot too.
Oh, look, we're doing this bit.
Did that happen because of stuff in the Underground three-parter? Or was that
the last thing
even
we
before
watched,
that? Because I thought they were still living in the sewers when we did the Underground stuff, but that was the last thing we saw.
Yeah, that must have been it. Didn't they get back to their lair or something and it was broken?
Oh, that must have been the cliffhanger from... Okay. And so now what we've got is the status quo at the beginning of Ninja Turtles 2. Which is funny because we have that before we even burn down the second time around store.
When April's finally wearing a full shirt instead of the cutoff one.
We want to congratulate April on coming into the 21st century and wearing a complete shirt.
And she's wearing mom jeans from this era too.
Well, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention, and it's a yellow shirt. I don't know if she's worn yellow at all.
I don't think so.
Is this the first time?
Because that was the first time I noticed too. Oh my god, he doesn't have a mask. That's horrifying.
It's like if you've got crazy hair and you usually pull it up, It's like that.
Oh my god, did you see how Splinter was sitting on the couch?
No, I missed it.
He's sitting with his knees tucked in like that on top of the couch.
Is he watching soap operas?
I hope so.
Because that's a thing with the show.
But he's not. Yeah, look at him.
But it's his meditating stance.
Why is he doing that on the couch? It looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah, so her tenant's named Kirby. So we take the homage all the way to this character will be named that. And that's again what the comic does. Now, I don't think in the comic it has anything to do with April. I forget how he meets him there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's Batman.
It's just been too long.
What if Jack Kirby created the DC universe?
Just imagine. Jack Kirby creates the DC universe. Well, Jack Kirby did create a good portion of the DC universe. I can imagine that.
Yeah, he did create the New Gods.
He created the Fourth World, yeah.
And Etrigan.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have his original run. I got it at Christmas, but I haven't read it yet.
Do I have him to blame for the rhyming thing?
Possibly.
Because that's the thing with Kirby, is that he always wanted to be allowed to write and draw. Like, he didn't like that Stan Lee came in and put words in after. But then once he started doing that at DC, people felt like his writing was too stilted.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't read enough of him completely solo to have an opinion about that. I don't know if you have.
Probably not. I need to read his Fourth World stuff. I don't have that at all with his Eternals. I think his Eternals is fine, how it's written. And I mean, it goes from person to person. Like, I know people that like really love his writing in DC, and after that, but other people think it's too stilted.
I also know people who feel like Claremont's writing tends to be stilted, you know, and he's a beloved writer.
That was
doesn't
one of the
doesn't
funniest
draw
things for me with Untold Stories. Like, how many writers were like, Claremont sucks.
Yeah,
He was like the best writer there at the time because they had no talent, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Well, and I think he is an incredible plotter and does, you know, amazing character work, but I do think his characters tend to sound too much the same. Like, I don't think they have their own voices enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've only read his Man Thing.
Even with all the
I'm so behind on
even
X-Men.
with all the phonetic speech and stuff.
Mm.
Lucas Green, I wonder how close is the likeness. I mean,
Not
pretty close.
really.
He's
It's like
he's
I mean,
based
it's
on that
in this
face,
art style, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, in this art style.
Yeah, it's like fine enough, I guess. He's got an infinity gem.
I wish they'd done this in the MCU, where just there was an infinity gem on a pencil.
What if this was just Endgame? Don't worry, I met this guy, Jack Kirby. He'll help us save the day.
I feel like Donatello maybe should be a half-decent artist.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see Leonardo being like an artistic one if we had to give it to one of them.
Sure.
Maybe that's because Leonardo doesn't have like as much going on.
Yeah, you want Leonardo to have more interests and more than just the prevailing character trait of like loyalty and honor.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first one I thought of was Captain America used to be an artist at one point in the comics. That was like the first thing I thought of, like that kind of leader thing. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
interesting.
That.
Hey, Austin, he's got the portal in the alleyway from Amalgam.
Yeah, what is happening? He's like, by the way, I also have this portal.
Yeah, he goes, I drew this portal. I don't know what the hell it is. Don't go through it.
Yeah. Well, Donatello does machines, so he went into it.
Donatello blindly walks into machines. Robert says this premise is horrifying. Yeah, and I love the, I guess I can't say meta nature, but like, I always like these stories that comment on, like making fiction reality, or how, you know, things that we come to care about that aren't real, that came from someone's imagination, like feel real and matter to us. Just that kind of relative reality.
Basically, while you might not love the overall runs, you would love the ending of both runs of Man Thing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, both, because he's only really had two major runs. Both the runs end with Steve Gerber and Chris Claremont like being brought into the story.
Well, just the power of imagination as an idea is like a huge motif for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, it doesn't have to go to the meta place of the person that makes a thing actually walks into it, so much as just and I think that's why I've always been obsessed with like the third act of the Lego movie and things like that. The idea that that like people who create these characters and worlds have a kind of power over us.
Well, that's why you like, was it Stranger Than Fiction? I'm
Oh
guessing.
yeah, absolutely. Stranger Than Fiction, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Lucas Green discount Asgard.
Yeah, you got blue hair Thor.
Did he really just yell "You shall not pass"?
He did, yeah.
It is nice that Kirby worked on something like this that is public domain if you make it look different enough from Marvel. Where like you can just straight up do Asgardians, and that makes it a lot clearer to us that this is supposed to be Kirby stuff. Although you put those planets in the background and you do the like jagged space stuff over the purple, and immediately it's a Kirby drawing.
Yeah, no, it is interesting they went to Thor. Because I was going to ask you that, is out of everything Kirby, like, what do you most associate with him? Like, when you think Kirby, like, what is the comic character or whatever that first comes to mind?
For me, it's Fantastic Four and Galactus.
That makes sense. It's definitely up there.
But that's also just because I'm obsessed with Galactus. So like that, like Silver Surfer is the big Kirby thing that I most care about.
Mhm.
And it's pretty clear that that was one of the things he was most proud of.
Mhm. Though it is nice that we're starting with Thor here. I don't know if we're gonna move on to like other things or just kind of be here, but
I think this is pretty much the landscape, but you're going to get a lot more monsters and things.
oh, okay. But I was just thinking because there's kind of like a unofficial trilogy between Thor, Fourth World, and Eternals. So like in a way, it's nice that we went to Thor.
Yeah.
But I also probably associate Fantastic Four more with Kirby than anything else.
Well, and then I guess the other thing is Fourth World.
That is definitely the next thing.
Just because he did invent that, like completely by himself, there's no Stanley argument there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, in fourth world, fourth world, almost spawns out of Thor. So like, that's cool.
And yeah, I don't think of Thor first partly because for me that's all Simonson, and obviously he's massively influenced by Kirby. But like when I think of Thor art, I'm thinking Simonson.
Mm-hmm. No, sure. Well, I think a lot of people forget that Thor is one of the like bigger Kirby and Lee books. Like, I've always said you can tell which books that Lee didn't care about. Thor becomes one of the ones that they really care about, and we've read some of that stuff and reviewed it with like Ego and High Evolutionary.
Oh yeah,
stuff that Josh had us review on request.
I forgot we did that. Yeah. Thanks, Josh. He's in the comments right now, by the way. He says, for me, it is Fantastic Four, Thor, and New Gods for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's great. Did you catch that line?
No, what was it?
He goes, Donatello says, Kirby, you drew all of those? He goes, yeah, I have a habit of drawing a lot. Kirby notoriously drew so much for Marvel and was so fast that if anybody couldn't get a book in on time, they would come to him at the 11th hour, and he always bailed them out.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
He was literally the backbone of Marvel.
He's done so many things.
I shouldn't say literally. You know what I mean?
Even at DC, like, he was only at DC for, so many years.
Yeah.
And he has all these really long books.
Why does Kirby here keep making that face? Like, he just keeps putting his mouth in an O shape?
Well, that's the classic Kirby face.
Is it?
Apparently.
Okay. I don't think that's true. Some nice shadow work on Donatello's face here.
I want to see this Jack Kirby draw his wife as like a big sexy gladiator woman, like the real Jack Kirby.
But yeah, I
I
love
don't know
how
if you know that with Big Barda, but
I love
she's
how
basically
fast he's able to draw something and immediately make it come to life.
Mhm.
Because that just doesn't even feel exaggerated.
No, that's just how he works.
It is really funny, though, that the way they're rendering... This is a weird sentence, but the way they're rendering his drawing, because it looks like he's basically just scanning the page with his pencil and the character appears.
Well, I didn't know he could, like, add additions onto people. I assumed that turtle would just come out of his book and help him fight.
That's the complaint I've always had about this episode.
Yeah, it feels like it's going against what this is.
Yeah, the rules we've already established. Like, what are the rules? So if you draw something that's already there, and you put something on it, then that shows up on them. So what would happen if you drew Donatello without anything else? Would you get a second Donatello, or would the page be waiting for you to add something?
You know what this proves, Cap?
And he's drawn, clearly, several of the same thing. Because
he also
minions
drew
are
like
all
a
the same.
Rockfeld gun for Donatello.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I feel like it definitely looks more 70s than 90s.
No, it's just that he's got like a big gun, so I just think 90s.
Fair.
But like, he's got like the Kirby like circles and
That's
stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it's a Kirby enough weapon, sir?
It's a Kirby take on a Liefeld gun.
So you're saying it's a size issue? It's a Kirby gun, but it's a big ass Kirby gun.
I just don't think of Kirby drawing like a big gun for a character.
Let me read the super chat real quick. Dan Schneider says for $5, thanks man. Imagine if that pencil was given to freaks on DeviantArt.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
That's a whole different show.
It really is.
But no, I think that issue, Cap, proves that while Jack Kirby drew everything, Stan Lee created the rules.
Is that what it proves?
Yeah, that's what it proves, yeah.
Yeah, of course Kirby would not agree with you, but then Kirby later in life claimed that he created Spider-Man.
Well, you say that, and this machine has Doc Ock arms.
That's true. I think the debate about, and we'll talk about this if we make that video, but about Marvel the Untold Story, but I think the debate about like where Jack Kirby begins and Stan Lee ends is endlessly fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like who deserves credit for what, and if Stan Lee really did, according to Kirby, just come in later and add what he thought were like unnecessary lines of dialogue in the balloons, but the whole thing was actually totally plotted and all the ideas were Kirby's. Like, how much credit do we give Stan Lee? I tend to think that the answer really is somewhere in the middle and that Lee should be given more credit than that.
I think it's definitely in the middle, especially when you get to that point where he's talking about how he created Spider-Man.
Because that seems to just not be plausible at all.
No, and I think there's like a little bit of like a Kirby's just kind of like bitter, and
that's what I was gonna say.
Angry, yelling at the world to a certain degree. Like, obviously, he was right about a lot of it, but like I think there is a little bit of that.
Well, it's sort of like to some degree, although I think this is worse. It's sort of like the Kane and Finger thing. Like, it's not like Bob Kane did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Stan Lee?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, the Lee and Kirby thing is a little bit like the Bob Kane Bill Finger thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Bob Kane was less involved, but I think some people like to act like Bob Kane deserves zero credit, and I think that's going too far. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
maybe only a little.
It's a little bit like that. Oh, really?
To a degree, I mean, Bob Kane also used to like steal artwork and stuff from people, or like hire people to draw the comics for him.
I guess
it was definitely like more stuff like that.
Okay. Well, and then it's interesting how close friends Stan Lee and Bob Kane apparently were.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
No, that's fair. I'm maybe being too charitable. I don't know.
No, Cap, you need to hate Bob Kane with a passion.
I'm sorry. I'm not being hateful enough. So I feel like
Oh no, Kirby's gone.
I feel like Kirby here is massively irresponsible with his with his ability with this magic pen.
Yeah, well now he's gone. That's sad.
It also seems like a Goosebumps premise.
Oh, 100%. I mean, isn't that basically what their movie was? I haven't seen
Oh
it.
yeah, no, you know what? That's true. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just imagining it, as a Goosebumps book.
Oh, okay.
But that's true because it reminds me a little bit of some of what's in Mass Mutant. But yeah, Bob the Hun, $5 super chat. Kirby was a big fan of science fiction novels and Shakespeare. Both were major influences on his work.
Oh yeah.
Robert says, I'm not defending Bob Kane, but he wasn't the only artist to do that.
No, of course. But I mean, Bob Kane also was the additional, like, Bill Finger aspect.
That ends on kind of a sour note.
It does, yeah.
And we've talked a little bit about this with this series, that sometimes you'll get like kind of a a happy uplifting episode that ends on this real kind of dour ending.
Well, and then is it sad that Jack Kirby is stuck in Jack Kirby world, or is it happy that he gets to live in a world he created?
No, see, I'm getting really kind of introspective about this right now, trying to read what that ending is, because I haven't thought about this in a long time.
He gets to go there and he gets to be King Kirby.
Yeah, that's true. But then it also could maybe be, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but like and I'm sure I talked about this when we reviewed that issue, because I think the issue ends the same way. I don't remember, but I think it does. But it could be like a reflection of real life, where like he did all this amazing work, and then for the larger masses, like just kind of disappears.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of forgotten. Like when you say like, is it a sad or a happy ending? I mean, it depends on who you talk to, right? Like it's both.
Yep. All I know is that if there's somebody named Roy Thomas that Jack Kirby can beat up in his new world, he's happy.
I mean, we were talking over it. Of course, does he get to keep the pen? Like he's still, or the magic pencil? Like he's still got it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he gets to keep creating unabashedly in the world that he created.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, he's no longer in our world and doesn't have any influence anymore. I mean, where that whole thing breaks down, of course, is that guy's not actually Jack Kirby, and he didn't create anything that was influencing anybody in the first place. But
well, I think it's just supposed to be that meta thing of like, here's our tribute to Kirby. In our version, he gets to keep what he made.
Yeah. Hey, Shredder's back. Watch out for him.
Oh God!
Watch out for Shredder. Hopefully, when he leaves this time, it won't be in as embarrassing of a way as last time when he got a water tower dropped on him.
Yeah, hopefully.
Actually, you probably want that, right? You probably just want him to be pathetic.
I mean, maybe it depends how it's done.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit rusty on some of this stuff. We were talking about the Bob Kane thing. I kind of forgot about the stealing art part of it. I just remember him like even more so than Stan Lee, like taking credit for the stuff that he wasn't deserving. Like Stan Lee didn't put his name on art he didn't do. Like
well,
I know that's a
Bob
thing
Kane's,
Kane did.
Have you seen Bob Kane's Crave?
Yeah, remind me.
I can't remember the exact wording, but it's like a picture of Batman, and it's like the sole creator.
Oh my God!
Imagineer or whatever. Like it's like
he's just turning the knife. Yeah, that's okay. That's never mind. Forget it. Bob King clearly sucks.
It's like a whole mural dedicated to screwing Bill Finger over in life.
Robert says, I'm not defending Bob Kane, but he wasn't the only artist to do that. And Josh comes back with, but the difference between Kane and other artists from the Golden Ages, Kane refused to admit he did that stuff. He kept lying over and over again.
Well, and Bob Kane also takes credit for things he had no involvement over, like the Joker.
Yeah.
So.
And not to throw shade at Kirby, but then the weird part of that is, but then Kirby seems to have done
Then
that with
Kirby
Spider-Man,
also
so
too.
yeah.
But Kirby's different. He was a bitter old man.
Right. Yeah. And like there's a part of you that can kind of see how the revisionist history in his mind would happen with that, where you oversimplify it to the point of I did everything and Stan Lee just wrote words after that.
Yeah,
But what's weird
my
about
main
that
thing with
is
that has always just been I want to know what Ditko thought of that.
that's what I was gonna say is, but he didn't do the early Spider-Man work. Didn't Stan Lee like come to the story was always he went to Kirby to draw Spider-Man. Was it that he was busy with something else, so then he took it to Ditko, or was it that he did a drawing and Stan Lee didn't like it?
I think it's that because
Isn't it
Kirby
that?
does the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15, which is like the big, like heroic one, and then you open the page and it's like the more awkward looking version with Ditko.
Well, that's probably how he gets. That's probably how he gets to that, right? Where he's like, I drew it first.
That's probably what it is.
And he doesn't like the idea of giving Stan Lee credit for even saying, here's an idea, draw that. Like, to him, if he drew it, it's all him, even if Stan Lee had the idea in the first place. It seems like that's how maybe he oversimplifies it.
That was my, like, if there's any way, it's probably that. Because it's not like he has an issue with Ditko. Like, when he was doing Fourth World, he wanted different people to take over different books, and he would kind of just run it. And he wanted Ditko to do Mr. Miracle.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Let me read these super chats real quick, and then we'll get off this subject and go back to Watch Out for Shredder. Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. Kirby, thanks. Kirby thinks he made Spider-Man because he did a drawing of Spider-Man that Stan Lee rejected before he went to Ditko. I wish I'd read that while I was trying to remember if that's what it was. But yeah, we did a little bit of sleuthing, and we came to that already. But thank you, Chewbacca's Lover. I appreciate it, man. I wish I'd read that.
I just imagine Ditko perpetually angry reading that in an article and being like, that guy.
Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. The newfound controversy with Stan Lee is why a biopic will never be made. I know it's not really new, but everyone is talking about it now. I'm out of the loop. What is he referring to? Like stuff that's
I guess just in terms of that
coming
like,
out that we already know about, but the general public is suddenly.
But like, I don't think the general public really knows about that. Like, Stan Lee will always be the face of Marvel, and like always be known as that in the general public. I also don't ever want a Stan Lee biopic being made because it'll be made by Disney, and it'll be like very it'll be that Saving Mr. Banks movie with Stan Lee. Like, I don't want that.
I don't want that either. No, and I like that movie, but I have to completely ignore real life. You know what I mean? Like I certainly don't want that with something that I'm already familiar with and invested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. The only way you could do it is like the Wonder Woman biopic that we did, where it's made by somebody else.
Yeah. And even then, I feel like that's a really hard line to straddle. Where like you could so easily go too far in either direction. Like I feel like if you try to be warts and all enough, you might throw them under the bus too far. You know what I mean? Like I feel like what would like obviously if Disney made it, it would be a fluff piece. If anybody else made it and they were trying to make it as true to life as possible and make sure and give Kirby his due and Ditko his due, I feel like Stan Lee could get punched in the face too hard.
I feel like the only way to do it too is as a Lee Kirby biopic about their friendships and their ups and downs.
Well, there's just some good, built-in drama there, except that at some point they stop talking and then it's difficult to have dramatic scenes because.
But then you can also have that really heartwarming ending where Kirby
where he calls him on a talk show on the radio.
There's one after that. The last time they meet is at a Comic-Con and Kirby's you have nothing to atone for or something like that to Stan. That's how you would end that movie, 100%.
Which would be really awkward in a scene because it sounded like it was really awkward in real life. But yeah.
No, I wanted to end on just that radio call.
Okay, so this concludes our discussion of Marvel: The Untold Story.
Yes.
And we've done it now. And
Now to the next episode, we will do a Daredevil speculation cast.
no, we might still do that. Hey, is this a two-parter or a thread? I'm hoping this is just a two-parter.
I don't know. What I have here, unless I back out, just says episode 17, 18, 19. It doesn't give me titles.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, is it a three-parter?
No, I'm just saying oh no because you can't tell me right away. Hang on, I'm going to look this up real quick.
You're like, oh, it's a 9-parter.
Oh, well, that's fine. We can break that up. Whatever.
Not if the story's really good.
Engaging.
Yeah.
Not if the story's really... What's that word I'm looking for? Good.
Good.
No, this is just a two-parter.
Oh, okay.
Good. I wish I had pretended like I planned it this way, because it would have been a really good plan. Alas, I did not. Okay. Shredder Strikes Back. I think this is going to be where the story's burned down. So they go move in with April, and then one episode later, she loses her store and gets burned down.
We weren't even in her apartment. We went to Kirby Land.
Yeah, we haven't spent any time there. Now, that might happen later, but I'm pretty sure this is where that happens.
Well, we're 17, and then we have to do, like, the leaving New York and then return to New York stuff. So, like...
Is that all in the first season, though? I couldn't remember if Northampton was in this season, or...
I'm pretty sure it's this season.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
So, yeah, that means that this first season is adapting most of Eastman and Laird's, collaborative work, besides some of the space stuff that they do earlier, which they'll do next season with the Triceratons.
Heck yeah.
And... Fugitoid and that kind of stuff, because we haven't had him yet. Fugitoid is like second or third issue of that series, because that was a comic that one of those guys did, before Turtles, and then they roped him in and made him a Turtles character.
I think it was like halfway through issue 3, so maybe it's issue 3. It's definitely not 2, because it's Baxter. Yeah,
and I think it might be the same issue with the Triceratons even. But anyway, it's just been too long. Okay, let's get into this. Chewbacca's Lover, $2 Super Chat, says, if this was written by Bendis, it would be 9 parts. That is true.
Yeah, probably.
Just any opportunity to make fun of Bendis,
6.
I guess.
Yeah, Chewbacca's Lover hates Bendis.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Thanks for the Super Chat. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Oh, who's it going to be?
Oh, Leonardo.
I think so, too. I'm going to go with you. Yep, you got it. Well done, sir. Oh, that's a cool shot.
Because I went Raph Leonardo.
That's also a cool shot. This storyboarding is rocking.
Oh, yeah, because this is the Leonardo gets his butt kicked.
Yep,
episode.
This is Leonardo's one shot. So we've done Raphael's, we've done Leonardo's.
We've done Donatello's, if that's the Kirby one.
See, I can't remember if the Kirby one is actually the micro series. It must be, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
All I'm going to do this whole episode is go, that's a cool shot.
Michelangelo's one was that 3-parter.
Was Michelangelo's... the way it plays in the show, and I don't think this is comic book, but it's been too long, but the way it plays in the show is that his is the superhero episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that would make sense.
Doesn't it kind of feel like that?
I forgot about that one. Didn't I say that was like my favorite episode?
Yeah, I went into that really dragging my feet, and then we both really liked it.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That also had some Kirby influence in it, from what I remember.
That's true.
That and the monster one did.
What was that called? The Turtle Titan?
I don't know. The superhero one?
Well, I'm just saying, like, the character was the Turtle Titan. And
okay.
The episode title was, like, the something Turtle Titan.
Yeah.
Because they try to make it sound like a Marvel title.
The Miraculous Turtle Titan.
Watch out for Shredder. It's always exciting when you get Watch out for Shredder and then he's actually in the episode, And it's not just, like, Trash Man.
I love Trash Man. Don't knock Trash Man.
Austin, I am really enjoying watching through the show with you, man.
No, thank you.
It's so nice to have someone to watch TV with.
Oh, he's putting his toe on his face.
So this is the way we're demonstrating that they don't have enough space and they need to go back to the sewer?
Look at Splinter sleeping like that.
They've got a pizza on the floor. See, they like subtly occasionally do the pizza thing. But it's just like little nods to it. They're not like pizza obsessed.
Mm-hmm. Not like every word.
Yeah, they don't put it in front of the word power or anything.
Thank God.
Oh, come on. You know you want to do this with 87.
No, I want Splinter to be like, let's have pizza. I made that funny.
I made that funny.
Is that funny, Splinter?
No, you didn't.
Blue Hawaii.
We need Splinter at a comedy club for open mic night?
You would just say like 2 to 3 word sentences.
Yeah, you would just expect everyone to laugh every time you said I made a funny. Like it would just be a bunch of non sequiturs. He'd be like,
oh God, would he say it after every joke?
He would say it after things that weren't jokes and pretend like they were jokes. He'd be like, I went to my mailbox this morning. I made a funny. Ha 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 ha.
That'd be awesome. And he'd have like a podium in front of him so you can't see his legs.
Schweiger's Lover says his name was Garbage Man, not Trash Man. We are fake
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle 03 fans.
His name was Garbage Man.
All this action is so good.
Yeah, he done dove into that wall and died. That was a really short sword in the shot.
Yeah.
It was like this big.
The reflection off the sword is really cool.
It was cool, yeah.
They went to the nines with the storyboarding this episode. It is killer. And that first big Shredder episode, there was a lot of this kind of stuff too, and then it ended really lackluster. I think this time around it'll be better because Shredder will be more menacing because he's going to burn a building down if I'm right.
Well, I know people where this issue of Turtles is like the best Turtles thing ever made. For them at least.
It is the best single issue, absolutely. And that's saying something because Eastman and Laird do standalone issues better than they do several issue story arcs, I think, or at least they're the more memorable ones.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, Ninja Turtles #1 was not necessarily meant to, continue on and be a series.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it reads like a real one-and-done standalone kind of thing. I mean, I guess they did launch right into #2, but, famously they kill Shredder right away and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, they're really good at...
works really well like that, too.
They're really good at one-and-done standalone stories.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell they like doing that stuff because they do the micro-series so early.
That was quite the commentary, April. She delivered that like the, honey, I'm home. Oh, that's right, I'm not married.
That's right, I'm not married.
That's right, I really do have 4 turtles and a rat living in my living room.
Oh, I hope they didn't hear me say this out loud.
Well, Splinter's sleeping. Oh no, I guess he's awake.
She needs a neon sign in the background that says hello there. Spagos Lover, $5 super chat. To me, every version of Splinter looks more like a dog than a rat. Especially this version and the 90 movie version. Am I alone in this?
Yeah, I don't have that. I think he looks like a rat in pretty much everything.
That thought.
Yeah. He definitely looks like a rat in the disgusting Bay movies. I hate how he looks in that movie.
Oh yeah, no, it's awful. Well, and I don't like his design in Mutant Mayhem either.
Okay, and I don't know offhand what he looks like. I like how he looks in the 90s movie.
The score's going hard too, man. Like, I don't know what to say except I don't really want to talk over this. I kind of just want to watch it again. And I love how dragged out we're doing this, and I know I have complained before that sometimes the action is real stretched, but this is really indicative of that comic where he's going to be put through the ringer. Like, this is supposed to be a gauntlet, and they're not rushing it. Like, you'd think that a cartoon adaptation of this would maybe do this whole thing in like 3 minutes, and they're not. It's the whole episode, just like the comic. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Or at least it's a lot of the episode, right? Of course, you got to get rain right away.
I mean, that's one of the best parts of the movie, too.
Yeah, we just do it with Raph instead of Leonardo. Lucas Greencap wants to watch Leo get his ass kicked. That's exactly right. Not because I don't like Leonardo.
Non-personality having fool. Go draw or something. Oh, they're doing the dishes like the dwarves in The Hobbit. This is what April O'Neil hates.
Why does she have a picture of a giant clown?
Why isn't she gotten dressed yet?
Put your damn clothes on.
Put your damn clothes on.
I couldn't even say it with a straight face. It seems like we're looking at Ninja Turtles 2 a lot right now because they're in her apartment. So, like,
oh God, I saw that clown picture.
That clown picture. But yeah, they're throwing and catching plates. Like, they did that with pizzas in the Ninja Turtles, or in Ninja Turtles 2. But yeah, I just think Leonardo is a lot more sympathetic when he goes through all of this.
Oh, they really messed up on Michelangelo's one-liner there.
Oh, is he off this? Is he off this episode again?
He was off. Yeah, she was like, "Can you be careful with my china?" And he was like, "I got this." But what he should have said is, "This isn't china. These are plates." That's the obvious Michelangelo joke to do there.
How did he not? How did he miss that opportunity? Like, he didn't get a joke at all. He didn't even try.
What the hell are they eating?
Mashed potatoes and nothing else?
Yeah, maybe. It looks like they're just eating a bunch of cream.
I also love, and I know I keep talking about this too much, but I also love how much we're changing the aspect ratio. Because we've talked about how they could maybe do that too often in these scenes. But I think here where it's just Leonardo by himself, it's really appropriate. Especially because, it feels like it's like directly adapting that issue where I keep feeling like I'm looking at like panel layouts.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, it looks good. Oh wait, no, wrong one.
Oh, these are different foot soldiers.
Yeah, these are like the ninjas from Blade 2.
Oh, are they turning invisible?
Yep. That is what happened.
Well, sorry for no. The reason I was asking is because for a second I thought maybe he made like multiple holograms of himself, and then it turned out that it was all different ones and they disappeared at different times.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I actually wasn't sure which it was. For a second I thought it was that weird thing at the end of Superman 2.
That seems so bizarre.
I have no idea what's happening.
I wish Leonardo would throw his shell, or like throw
a giant turtle shell?
Yeah, it's like he peels it off his regular shell, like Superman 2. And then it doesn't even really do anything.
Okay.
It catches them for a second.
That was funny. That was a cool choice. So he's slipping because it's wet, and then the invisible foot ninja, Lucas Green called them the foot tech ninjas, grabs Leonardo, and he looks like he's in midair, like he's a cartoon. Like his legs are like kicking out underneath him, and then he drops. That's a really clever way to do like a Warner Brothers cartoon
like
gag.
A Looney Tunes gag?
Yeah, Looney Tunes gag, like in this universe. Because for a split second I went, wait a minute, that's cartoon physics, and then I was like, I'm dumb. That guy's invisible.
That gag was so Looney Tunes that Zaslav would delete it if he saw that.
Okay, I'm trying to remember if he does this in the comic where he turns his bandana around and makes it a blindfold.
Do they do the invisible ones in that?
I don't think so, but that it rings a bell. Like there's some point where he blinds himself for some reason, but I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not.
The first thing I was thinking of was the Mysterio episode of Spectacular.
I honestly should just take the time and reread that stuff. Because it's like, 10 or 12 issues, and then I wouldn't be in these commentaries going, I just don't remember anything.
I'm a Turtles fan, guys, I promise.
I'm an almost 40-year-old Turtles fan with 6 kids, and nothing sticks with me anymore. It sucks. But I'm trying.
There's a lot of dishes in this episode.
This episode has it. Meanwhile, back in the kitchen...
It's fighting and more dishes.
Well, Raphael, I don't think he's getting worse. I think he's just not funny this episode. Like, and not even trying to be funny this episode.
I know, what the heck's going on to my boy?
At least they're consistent. Like, every episode with Michelangelo, he's either really on with his comedy or he's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's never in the middle. It's never like
sweet.
There's that one great joke, but no, it's all good or it's just nothing. Lucas says even the weather is siding with Shredder. Yeah, it's awesome. Although we had rain with the last Shredder fight too, did we not?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I thought there was lightning and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas will tell me.
That does sound familiar, yeah.
Where, like, it's got...
Sword versus just a giant pipe fight.
That's how Hun rolls. And see, now he's got to deal with Hun.
He's like one of the annoying brutes in Arkham Knight.
I don't know, you take the confident leader of the Ninja Turtles who's sure of himself and always thinks he knows what he's doing, and you make him the underdog, and it's really effective. And I mean, I can't give this episode credit for that, because that's Eastman and Laird, but...
Well, Leonardo just killed those 3 people.
Nah, there was like a little roof underneath. They're fine. They didn't fall that far.
You should have added like a... We're okay.
Like in the first Ninja Turtles movie with that guy that clearly is dead, but then he's talking.
Yeah. I got better. They're finally not doing the dishes anymore.
You know, it's kind of cool that you and I did I forgot about this, that you and I did a commentary on the 90 movie for the Rewind Commentary Project, and now we're doing this.
That is true, yeah. And I was the one who suggested that, too.
You did. That's a great line.
Okay, that time we did make a funny. The way he was like, time.
This is what I live with all the time. And then he should have gone, I made a funny! Ah!
Blue Hawaii.
I honestly, there's a part of me that doesn't want to keep cutting back to them, Austin.
Because they're not doing anything.
Well, doesn't that sort of feel like a mandate thing where it's like, you can't have a whole episode that's just Leonardo like this? But then we did just do it with Donatello last episode.
I think it's just like the juxtaposition where it's like he's having the fight of his life, and then you cut back and it's like, oh, we're doing the dishes.
They've got nothing going on. They're bored out of their minds. Well, and you know what? To their credit, I think maybe the logic for that is, for them, like nothing is happening. It's completely mundane, and they're about to lose everything. Like,
I also think it maybe could have like grown old faster if it was just the fighting. Like, you maybe need the cutaways.
That's fair, but you didn't in the comic.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also paced differently.
That's true. I don't mean to be too much of a purist about it. I just think it's impressive how much of it, or like how much they actually adapt with that. Like, it's paced more like that than I would have expected.
I just mean like in terms of like the difference between mediums.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's no way around that. I love the silhouette. I don't know how I feel about the slow motion.
Hmm. That's a little weird.
Was that a
They
little
needed
goofy?
this episode was like 2 seconds too short.
Chewbacca's lover says they cut back to them in the Mirage comics. I couldn't remember how often they do that though. See, I need to just read that issue again. And there's like no dialogue in it. It wouldn't take any time at all.
Oh my god, now it's the Weathers from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, or what's his name from Mortal Kombat?
Oh yeah, they're clearly the basis for
Raiden?
Raiden in Mortal Kombat.
Raiden.
Like half of Mortal Kombat comes from that movie.
Yeah, Lucas Green is apparently a giant Turtles fan. Yeah, that's Shredder's Elite Guard. They're in the comics too.
Oh, okay.
He is pulling out all the stops right now. Honestly, I think Shredder is doing all of this, Austin, because he's so embarrassed that he got beat by a water tower.
I mean, I would be too. I'd probably kill myself if I got beat by a water tower.
So if you're writing this, the end of the big reveal at the end of this is Shredder is actually dead and Karai is doing all of this. Like
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you'd write it, right?
And he didn't even die from the water tower. He was just that embarrassed. He committed harakiri. Oh, there he is.
Wait for it. Where's my... Oh!
Those guys didn't even do anything. Okay, they're back. I thought they just left. Like,
Oh my god, they're the Phantasm. You know where they make smoke, which
yeah,
which just lets them teleport.
Would you also like that there's 4 of them?
Oh yeah, no, that's good. Where he's got to fight 4 of them, and he's by himself.
But they all have red instead of multicolors.
Oh my god, they're doing something there, Austin.
Yeah, he's fighting the Mirage Turtles.
Or that's completely coincidence, every bit of it. But that's I want to read into it because it's great, but I'm sure.
I mean, him having 4 elite guards is probably a thing. Like that's probably like they're doing something.
In the fact that he has to be by himself and he's got no backup, yeah. There's got to be something going on there.
I just mean because like Shredder is the Splinter and those are his turtles.
Sure. But I mean, if where that breaks down is Karai, because you'd think if he had, you know.
Well, that's that's April.
Oh. Okay, I don't know how much sense that makes, but sure.
Well, they didn't get to it yet, but April is Splinter's daughter.
Bob the Hunt, some people really dislike the mystical elements in Ninja Turtles. What do you guys think? I think Ninja Turtles, like the nature of what Eastman and Laird are influenced by, just being like the gamut of superhero comics. I think eventually you have to get to magic with Ninja Turtles, and it's not always done great. Like it's the least interesting thing in it for me, but at least in most adaptations, like I like some of it in IDW a lot. Like the reincarnation thing really worked for me ultimately, but I'm not a big fan of the Pantheon. So like there's pieces of it I love and pieces of it I don't. But ignoring mysticism entirely in Ninja Turtles, would be weird because you're doing Miller, but you're also doing Kirby, right? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So you gotta do the street level stuff. You gotta do the cosmic stuff, and then I think you do have to do magic at some point.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the version for me. Like I don't know if I would need if the '90s movies kept going. Like I don't know if I need like some of that stuff in it, but outside of that, yeah.
No, that's fair, and I don't want to like split hairs with it. I guess what I mean is, I think the comics for an ongoing with those two guys, they were just inevitably going to do magic because they seemed interested in like the broad landscape of everything in superhero comics, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So like, yeah, the movies wouldn't have to do it. Even like a cartoon show like this wouldn't. Except this seems to want to represent the comics as much as possible,
Hmm.
which is why I would want it here.
But like, I also with the '90s movies have a hard time thinking of them getting to like the Triceratons or whatever too.
Yeah, no,
Like, I
me
feel like
too.
that's so specifically the street level side.
It is. It's more grounded. I'm with you. I don't really need or necessarily want any of that in that movie or
Hmm.
in that continuity. But I want it here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We also introduced the grander, more cosmic elements very early in this,
Hmm.
and there's no trace of it in the '90 movie.
Although I guess the '90s movie has the Splinter Call mystical thing,
Oh, that's true. I don't know
and
why
I
I
would
wasn't
say
thinking about
of
that.
the stuff like I
He's
think
kind of
of the
astral projecting.
yeah. Well, I would say that I think of the Turtles as being more mystical than I do sci-fi, just because a lot of that stuff is stuff that I haven't looked at. It's like I haven't experienced the space stuff as much.
Yeah, and in my head, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Ninja Turtles is Technodrome, and then Metalhead. Like it's all about the sci-fi elements for me.
Hmm. Well, I just mean like space and aliens and stuff. Like obviously like Technodrome, but like that's just like a big car with an eye on it.
Well, it's a roving van. I mean, basically Shredder, you know, he
Lives
has a
in a
mobile.
van down
He's
by
got
the
a
river.
no, he's got a mobile home. I always wanted to see like a trailer park of Technodromes,
Hmm. Oh God, that sounds horrifying.
and then he can hang out with Lord Zed with his Winnebago from Power Rangers Zeo, where he's just driving around in his Winnebago on the moon, because that happens.
We would be driving a Winnebago on one of the Technodromes.
Like
Dude, like a
Zed
really big one.
Zed and Rita are relegated to trailer trash on the moon in Zeo. It's amazing.
Are you shocked?
No, because they take his teeth away more and more as that show goes on.
Exactly.
It's sad. Okay, it's time to move on to the second part of Shredder Strikes Back. Hey, Austin, you remember that really old episode from Ninja Turtles, Shredder Strikes Back?
No.
Okay, well, we're gonna watch it, and then you'll be, and then
Oh, okay.
you'll be educated. I was gonna use it to solve some kind of like monumental end of the world scenario, but I guess we'll just watch this episode.
Well, you found a leader and you're like, how do we beat him up? You guys remember that really old episode? And then your plan is just beat him up?
I'm gonna call my 4 elite guardsmen.
My 4 weathers. Hell yeah.
Okay, everybody. I can't decide which of us is fading more right now.
I'm not fading. I'm good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
I'm sad that this April's apartment doesn't have the skylight, so we could drop the turtle through it like the movie.
That's what you're preoccupied by?
That's what I'm preoccupied by. Yeah, it's sad.
Do you think at some point somebody's gonna pick up a pair of cymbals? Do you think somebody's gonna get thrown into a fish tank?
If this episode doesn't have a fellow checker, hey, I don't want to watch anymore after this.
Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the final episode,
The final episode
of our watch through. Okay, here we go. It's the 18th episode of season 1. Everybody get ready to press play. I'm about to do it. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
Oh, we didn't guess, but it's Splinter. My son was being beat up, but in the meantime, I made a funny.
I made a deadpan joke, and now I'm gonna go to open mic night.
But no one laughed.
It was tragic. Almost as tragic as if my son was beaten up by the Shredders, Ninja Turtles.
But more tragic than that. A dinosaur story.
You know, I might have just missed it, but I don't think we got the ooh.
Ooh, I didn't hear it in the last episode.
Yeah, we didn't get in the recap either. I don't think they've abandoned it. I think it'll come back.
Yeah, I guess just they forgot.
Robert says, "How much nunchucks could a ninja chuck if a turtle could chuck nunchucks?"
Say that really fast.
I mean, I thought
Wait,
I was at a pretty
how much
decent
nun
clip.
could a nunchuck knock? Wait, I already messed up. Could a nunchuck nun if a nunchuck could nunchuck?
Are you okay?
No.
Don't hurt yourself.
I did.
Robert is really also on about April having a globe next to her TV. Like earlier, she was like, "What is she, 5?" I'm like,
on that too. Whenever it's in the background, I'm like, "There's a globe there."
okay, but what makes it childish though? Robert said, like, "Is she 5?" I don't understand that.
Oh, I don't know. My thought was just who owns a globe.
I mean, I have a globe.
Oh, there you go.
Apparently, I'm 5. I don't know.
What are you, 4?
Sprockets Lover $5 super chat. I was really into the show's cliffhangers. I got into arguments because I wanted to make it home in time to watch the show and not miss it. Yeah, and the show is really good at, these edge on your feet kind of cliffhangers.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we're showing the water tower again.
Yeah, in case you missed it. Hey, look, it's John Semper's Ninja Turtles. But speaking of that, like, this feels like some of that 90s Marvel stuff, done in a more sophisticated way.
Yeah, that's true.
Just in how it handles its ongoing stories.
Mm-hmm.
He says you always see globes in kids' bedrooms in movies and shows from back in the day. Oh, okay. I've not noticed that.
Yeah, well, Cap can look up Uruguay anytime he wants, and you can't. So take that.
Well, I mean, you probably could faster because. Okay, so don't show us how he was kind of he kind of got taken out like a pansy last episode, and then. Yeah, yep, and he's got his hand out. Okay, I did enjoy seeing that again, because that's always my favorite Shredder thing, is when his hand comes out of rubble. Let's go to my store so it can get burned down. Watch me be wrong and that doesn't happen this episode. Although we keep...
They gotta leave.
Well, I was going to say, we keep establishing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Michelangelo's scream was pretty good.
That's pretty sweet.
Sometimes his best comedy is physical stuff in this, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the case with a lot of Michelangelo's, because so much of it relies on, like, the party dude catchphrases.
Yeah, I just think it's nice that in animation we're not forgetting that.
Mm.
And this is only the second cartoon show, and obviously 87 relied all on the catchphrases, so I don't think it's to be taken for granted in 03. Like, it's nice that they thought to do that.
You just beat up the Shocker.
I like these shots where we drop the background out and we're just...
It's very, like, anime,
zooming yeah.
I mean, it's that period. It's starting to bleed more into American cartoons.
Yeah, great point.
Oh, you just did the Batman shot.
Yeah, and he did it to a guy that looks like Bane.
That was so stupid.
It was. But, when he caught it, I thought it was going to be dumber. I thought he was going to, like...
He should have caught it in his teeth.
I thought he was going to either knock it out of the air or, like, split it in half somehow.
That'd been awesome.
Robert says, the layout of this apartment is breaking my brain.
I've had that even just in the last episode. I
Are
was like,
there
wait.
windows on every wall?
Yes. Well, family now. Let's get out of here.
Lucas knows Ninja Turtles like Star Wars fans know Star Wars.
Wait,
Said like that big guy with the arms is called a Foot Clan Brute. Like I didn't remember that.
she opened the door to like the hallway. Oh, that's just a window. Okay, I thought that was like a mirror.
Okay, so she lives in an apartment, right?
Yes.
No one has complained about the ruckus.
Everyone's still at work.
It's nighttime.
Well, it could be a time of the year where it just gets dark early, and maybe people work late because it's the big city.
Part time.
No, they work full time.
Yeah, but you said part time.
No, part of time when the sun goes down early.
I heard part time.
No, they work full time.
Part time. Bob the Hun $5 super chat. Thanks. He says, was Hun... Oh, look, Bob the Hun is talking about Hun. Was Hun in anything before the show, or did it create him? The show creates Hun. I'm almost positive. IDW uses him and Silver Century. Whoever wrote that watched the show. Well, IDW... So that's Tom Waltz, and Tom Waltz pulls from everything. And it was kind of a big deal to have him in, like, the second issue, where it's like, oh, he's going to draw from
Good one,
all kinds of different
Donatello.
places. And that was made possible because Nickelodeon bought the whole kit and caboodle, and now it was legal for them to use
Do
any Turtles thing they wanted to. Yeah, so it was exactly the right time to do that kind of reimagining, because you could take any element from virtually any Turtles thing.
Have any of them done the, like, they put their heads into their shell yet? I can't remember.
Oh, in this show?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't remember. Did you just say Raffi?
And I hope he never does it again.
Yeah, what's up with Donatello in this episode? Because
Raffi!
like 2 minutes ago, Michelangelo was like, "There's mean guys," and Donatello went, "Mean guys, duh."
He's somehow gotten cheesier after the Kirby incident. I don't know what to make of that.
Now he's written by Stan Lee.
He only speaks in exclamation points?
Whoa!
Nice hands.
I was beating the crap out of Splinter. Oh, I guess he got out of it.
Oh, are we going to have a whole episode where he's going through a gauntlet
I
across
hope
the city as
so.
well?
That'd be awesome. Well, is Splinter gonna go with them, or is he gonna get kidnapped?
I don't think he gets kidnapped.
That's my issue of just knowing the movie. So it's like, we're gonna do the leaving New York thing. Does he go with them?
Yeah, I don't remember. I thought he did. But they kind of did a fake out at the beginning of the show, if you'll remember, where we thought he might get kidnapped and then he didn't.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I did confirm, just because I'm paranoid, that yes, Hun was indeed invented for the show.
Raphael landed in that pose that Leonardo's in when April draws him in the movie.
Oh, cool. Nice call there, or nice catch.
That's probably not intentional, but
No, but that's a cool catch. I have thought about... So, somebody makes those on Etsy, and I thought about ordering those and putting them on walls somewhere.
oh, that'd be cool.
I actually thought about getting a tattoo of one before I got my Michelangelo tattoo. But...
I mean, that'd be a cool one.
But my artist and I determined that it wouldn't make for the best tattoo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he just
because it's so sketchy. Or...
Yeah, he didn't love the pose for it.
I mean, it is just like.
It's a little bit of a weird thing to render on skin. Like, he would have done it if I insisted, but
It's not like especially dynamic.
exactly.
You should have Michelangelo yawning and spinning his nunchuck.
I should have gotten Michelangelo with hot dogs.
Yeah. You should get Michelangelo yelling, "Ninja kick the damn rabbit."
Why does it look like Hun has a giant bruise on his forearm? Did you see that?
Didn't we say that in his first episode? Because he's got that tattoo, but it looks like a bruise.
Oh, did we say that?
Now he's got a bruise on his chin and his...
Yeah, he doesn't have a tattoo there. What is that?
That's a bruise. Well, Leonardo's got bruises. Like, I just like decapitated Leonardo.
Lucas Green, thank you for the super chat. And by the way, you asked for this response. £5 super chat. Cap, if you heard all this noise, the fighting next door, what would you do or assume? I would assume domestic violence.
I'd assume people were banging.
Really? This screams sex to you?
Yes.
Man, that is some exciting sex. I don't know anybody that ever could possibly have had this exciting of sex.
If you heard this much action and then somebody go, "Whoa, it's really him," that's definitely sex happening.
Well, if I thought it's what you thought it was, I guess I wouldn't do anything. I would just put noise-canceling headphones on. But if I thought it was domestic violence, I would call the police. That's also some really exciting... I also have never known anybody that could possibly have this exciting of domestic violence either.
Well, and I would call it in and be like, they're having a domestic, and Cap would get angry at me, even though the cops would know what I'm talking about.
A domestic. I hate
Yeah, having
that.
a domestic.
I hate it. That's an adjective. Resolve the chord. Resolve the chord.
They're having the domestic. Look, you can see it right here.
Splinter, thank you for spelling out
That's
the strategy.
another way you know it's sex is if somebody says that's not the way of a true warrior.
You know it's sex when someone says wearing us down with sheer numbers.
Exactly.
What the hell does that mean?
It means they're wearing them down with sheer numbers.
I really didn't expect this to go to the sexual innuendo place, but
Well, Shredder just said finish
Lucas.
them off.
Shredder that's badass, actually. Shredder is fighting Splinter with Donatello's bow right now. And I thought he was going to toss it, but he is still fighting with that.
He's fighting with a stick, even though his armor is like 80% knives.
I don't care. It's kind of cool.
He also uses it like a sword, like he doesn't know how to use it.
You are way too critical of Shredder. I'm not gonna put up with it.
I'm not being critical. I just think it's funny.
No, you're being critical. I'm not gonna put up with it. Okay, he has to say Goongla, right?
I don't think he's going to.
He's not gonna say it. But it's cool that he busts in like he does in the comics. I mean, it's a different situation, but he does do that. Why doesn't he say Goongla in the show?
I don't know. Is that a thing? I've never
Yeah. I'll send you the there's a huge
Goongla?
full page spread or double page. Yeah, that's his catchphrase in the comics.
It's probably because that's nothing.
I don't know what the hell it means, but yeah, he yells Goongla, and if you watch the Casey Jones fan film, they actually wrote a song for the credits with a singer that keeps saying Goongla because that's what he says in the comic.
That's where they should have put it. I just got to the party, babe. Don't call me babe. Goondala.
They should put it in the intro.
Said it.
There it is! I couldn't remember if it was there or not. He said it.
Goongala.
Goongala.
What a weird catchphrase.
I wish he'd said it while he was flying on his motorcycle, but he still got the bruises.
Probably did. You just couldn't hear it over the sound of the motor.
No, he didn't. He didn't say it.
Ugh.
I
think I might have been right about what's happening.
Don't set him up for creepy dialogue, April. God. You can threaten anybody else you want to.
Goongala.
I want a head candidate that Hunt is his dad in this show too.
I just want that to be the only thing Casey says. He
It's
talks like
just
Groot.
Goongala.
Yeah, and then they're like, "You're right, Casey. That's a good idea."
He's still saying it. I'm so excited. I'm really glad that's in here. No, the Goongala
Why did
thing
the
is
cop
weird.
put his window down?
I don't know if it was intentional, but that cop just looked like Eastman. I think the cops are maybe supposed to be Eastman and Laird.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'm right about that, but
Well, 'cause
one of
one
them looked like Eastman,
younger
and the
and
other
one
one I
looked
can't
older.
decide if it's supposed to be Laird or not.
Yeah.
Because he looks a little heavyset.
It's kind of like your stereotypical, like, older, like, kind of heavy-set cop guy with his younger partner is what it looked like. But it could be. I don't know what either of those guys look like.
It's pretty close to what Eastman looked like at the time.
Okay.
Robert, so Bossa Nova and Cowabunga are totally fine, but Goongala is going too far. Well, yeah, because Austin's never heard the word Goongala.
Yeah, I mean, I also think... I mean, I didn't even know Bossa Nova was a thing. I mean, I guess that's in the movie, isn't it?
Chevy Nova.
Yeah. But, like, a lot of that stuff, I'm like, ugh, I don't really need that. But Goongala is like, what the hell even is that? Goongala, I made a funny.
Yeah, like it sounds like a tax prep company or something. Like
It sounds like something Mario would both say and fight. He's like,
he's fighting a Goongala.
King Koopa set out his Goongalas.
Shredder's is always getting crap dropped on. Did you hear him when that? It's like a big chest falls on him and he just goes ah.
He's always getting beat up.
I know. I remember him being so badass in the show. And like he looks it, but he just keeps getting his ass handed to him
By stupid things.
And he just broke out of an arm war. Shredder versus the arm war.
The what?
It's an arm war. It's like a.
I don't know. That's too fancy for me.
It's like a, what do you call it? It's like a big chest that you put clothes in.
Oh, okay. So I just call that clothing house. That's way too fancy for me.
No, you just locked him in.
Oh, an activated.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, you didn't.
Why did he light the bomb behind him? Now he has to walk through it.
Because it's more badass if you walk through the fire.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then he just disappeared. Like he faded out.
I think he just disintegrated in the fire.
So, two things about that. First of all, he goes, like the Phoenix I've risen from the ashes of a water tower falling on you. And then the second thing is the device he just threw that made that fire is like the bomb he throws in the first issue that ultimately kills him.
Oh, and he pulls out the thermal detonator.
Yeah, that feels like a callback to that.
That's possible.
Robert, Austin is ruining Shredder for Cap in the show. I think Shredder is ruining Shredder for me in the show.
Yeah, just pointing out that they make him suck.
No, and I'm coming to that as you're talking about. Oh, these guys are back. The Matrix guys.
Oh, yeah.
Remember them? Because they got to talk to the Kryptonian Council.
Well, they're all in Professor X chairs.
Yeah.
They're like comically too big for them.
They just go up to the end of eternity. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Is it still sex if you hear an explosion near your neighbor's house? If you're somehow lucky to be in your backyard and avoid the boom, well, Austin.
I mean, does sex not end with a big boom?
It's more like a
An
metaphor.
Explosion of sorts.
It's like a metaphor. To be continued, question mark.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and then they're gonna escape and then do the Northampton thing, I'm sure.
But if people are banging near me, I would hope that I would avoid the boom.
Well, on that note, I think I'm ready to end the show. This was a ton of fun. Okay, so Shredder's a little less pathetic than he was with the water tower, right?
Kind
A
of.
little bit. I
A
mean,
little bit.
I don't know, the way he got crushed under that piece of furniture was pretty silly.
Yeah, his henchman did all the work, and then he got crushed by furniture several times.
Well,
And then he threw a bomb, and then he died in the fire.
Okay, but he's like a good football coach. Like he came up with a strategy. He told them all where to go. Like
his weathers were cool. Those guys were cool.
His weathers.
The guys with the hats.
What's a? You keep saying that. I don't know what you mean.
They're the henchmen from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I've never seen that. Which
It's what Raiden's based on from Mortal Kombat.
Okay, sorry, you said that, but then I had a disconnect because I didn't know what you meant by that.
Yeah, that's all good.
Sorry, when you said that earlier, I thought you meant he was controlling the weather because it's always raining.
No, they have like, I guess kind of weather powers in that movie. I don't know.
Oh, is there like supernatural stuff in that?
Oh yeah, the main villain's just the Mandarin.
Oh, interesting. I didn't
and
know.
like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, because there's so much Mortal Kombat in that movie.
You've been trying to get me to watch that forever.
Because it's the greatest movie ever.
Okay, but is it better than Mortal Kombat? Like, is it crazier than that?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, interesting.
100%.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
no, Jason would probably like it because he would be like, "Oh man, like I'm seeing the seeds of this game I like."
Yeah. Do you want a blind commentary at some point, or I mean, like, would that be the way to do it, or do you want me to just watch it on my own, or?
I mean, we could. That is one of those movies that's just fun to watch, like as opposed to like analyzing things. We could.
So it'd be pretty easy to.
Oh yeah.
Get content out of. Well, maybe we'll do that at some point.
You heard it here first, folks.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Chewbacca's Lover super chat. Let's read that real quick, and then we'll call it a night. Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. Thanks, man. People talk a lot about how dark and edgy this show is, but it doesn't get enough credit for how fun it gets, and its humor is as good as 1990. Yeah, but I think that's just because, especially when this came out, people are just contrasting it to the previous cartoon show, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the 89 thing, right? But like, I wouldn't say 89 is like dark, but like, that's obviously how it looked back then.
Everything's relative, yeah. Compared to what people thought of as Batman. I mean, Ninja Turtles is in an interesting place at that time in that it has a version that is equally popular that is darker as the really lighthearted, silly thing made it popular in the first place. So, like, I can't think of anything else that has that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, right? Within a 3-year span, you get the quote-unquote dark and edgy version of the thing that is just as big as it. So people still think of Ninja Turtles as a relatively sillier property, but it's not like Batman where it's campy for like 20 years before anything else is allowed to be done with it.
Mm-hmm. No, that is true.
So that's interesting. I think he's right that the humorous side of the show isn't talked about as much, and you could say that's because it's just a given because it's Ninja Turtles. But I do like and I've talked about this before, but I like the point that Turtles Forever makes about that, where compared to the '87 show, this feels really serious. And then if you go back to Mirage, it's somewhere in the middle. And so when the Turtles go to Turtle Prime at the end of that movie, and they're dealing with the very serious, hardly crack a joke, hardly crack a smile Turtles, compared to them, these Turtles feel really goofy.
Yeah, it's probably like between what we have at this point, like it's probably like being when this show was made, It's probably like you have the '80s show and the comics on like two sides of a spectrum, and then in the middle is this show, and then maybe slightly more to the comics is the movie.
Yeah, well, and it's also important to note that, like of course, the direct comparison with this is the '87 cartoon because it's also an animation. But the only other things that have been done with this, apart from comics, that not a lot of people were reading, to be fair, were movies that get progressively sillier.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah,
And the TV thing right before this is Next Mutation, which is terrible.
hmm and you have the Rock show.
So compare this to everything else Turtles at the time besides 90, and yeah, it looks really dark and serious. Of course.
That is very true. And it's also doing like stuff from that movie, and like a little bit sillier than that movie did it, but like it's like there's scenes that you can recognize from that movie.
Well, and it has, yeah, and that was the appeal for a lot of people, where it was, it was for those of us that grew up with the cartoon show that thought this is what we were watching. Like, it's very much that, this is a different thing, but it's very much like that Brave and the Bold thing from '60s, where somebody came in and made the thing that we as kids felt like we were watching. This is very much that. This is the show that you should have seen when you watched the Red Sky seasons of '87 and they throw footage from the movie in the intro. This is what should show up after you sit through that intro.
This is the Shredder you thought you had in the '80s cartoon.
Lucas Green, interesting night. Cap likes Leo getting hurt. Austin's weird views on sex. Yeah, kids TV.
I don't know about weird, but definitely accurate.
No, I think it was kind of weird. Lucas, how long till the next Ninja Turtles 03 commentary? We'll sneak it in sometime next week if we can, but otherwise it'll be a week after.
Yeah, because I think next week we'll probably do the history videos since we're almost on that.
Yeah, we'll probably do that Wednesday, so if there's some random night where it makes sense to just jump in for an hour, we'll do this, but otherwise it'll be the week after. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Austin, I'm having a blast with these, man. It's really fun.
Yeah, it was a good one. We had a good string of episodes, which is what we had last time, because there was like kind of a down period where it was like kind of getting weaker and weaker.
Well, and you really like the underground stuff, and I was won over more on that than the last time I saw it.
No, that's probably still my favorite part of this.
So that means we've had 6 solid to great episodes in a row, and that's right after the other Shredder 2-parter, which I think is pretty good until you get to his getting taken out on the roof. Like, most of that's good.
Yeah, and I think not to the same degree as that episode, but I do think the first part of this one is also better than the second part, but it's not as like big of a drop off.
No, I totally agree with you. But it is like that where the best action is still in the first part.
No, there's some good fun bits in the second part.
Yeah, but Leonardo getting his ass handed to him is the best part. That was great.
Well, the best part is that Splinter line.
What did he say again? Now you see what I have to put up with or something?
It was like, I have to live with them all the time, I think. But it was just the way he said it was really funny. Where it was like, all the time.
It's a great line delivery.
Yeah, it was all in the delivery.
He made a funny.
Blew away.
Guys, we appreciate you. Thanks for the support with Super Chatters, and thanks for just watching and commenting. And thanks for watching this later if you did that. We will see you again soon with more stuff here on Geekvolution. I was Captain Logan, and this was Austin. Bye, everybody.
See you, folks.